Well, this is the second time that I'm going to try to review this book because I was butchering my review and I decided to be anew. I have to say I completely love this book. It's Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan, and I have to say that I love it. As some of you follow me at my channel know, I love books about inclusion and representation and diversity because I think that they are very needed, and also I enjoy reading them because they talk about things that I know less about than I don't know, that white books. I don't know if that's even a thing, but you guys you get what I'm meaning, right? I'm just getting tired of reading books about white people doing white people stuff and being so white and so blue eye and so blonde, and they are cool. There's great authors writing, but I love to have books about different cultures and different races, different religions and different ways of living because they feel so new to me, and also I learn things that maybe I didn't know before reading the book, so that for me is very special. In this one we are going to have this world. It's created in fantasy, but it's deeply wrote in our own world. We're going to find three castes, and we have the Piper one, that's like the lowest of the low. We have the steel caste, I think it's pronounced caste, but I'm not sure. And then we have the moon one. And the thing is, the paper people look just like us. They're human beings, and they're seen as very fragile, and they mistreated, and they are abused, and they are enslaved, and they are, treated like shit. Sorry for the expression, but it's the best way to get it across. And then in the complete opposite, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the moon caste. And the moon caste are not exactly human. They are like demons. They're called demons in the book, and they're like anthropomorphic animals. And we have an amazing variety of different I don't know how to say that. We have an incredible variety of demons from the moon caste, and we are going to find like, bulls, and we are going to find wolves, foxes, birds, and it's amazing. And I have to say that the world building that the author has created in this book, it's amazing because it integrates so well while you are reading the book, and everything gets described to you in the right way and in the right moment, and you cannot help but like construct this world inside your head and began seeing the representation of all these creatures and this world and the situations in your head. And it's, for me, it was a very vivid book because I could see everything happening inside my head like it was a movie, and I love this book for it because the world building, as I say, it's amazing, and the language and the way the author has of writing, it's, for me, it's so good that I just couldn't put it down. And then we have the characters. All the characters are amazing, even the ones that you are supposed to hate. They're so well constructed and they make sense. Sometimes you have a bad guy and it's a bad guy because the bad guy has to be the bad guy, and it's like you can see him twirling his mustache and laughing maniacally, and you think, okay, that's a bad guy because he has to be the bad guy. But in here you have a bad guy that you can understand why he is like that. He's still a son of a, but you see where he's coming, and his personality is sound in the way in which he acts and does things. It's solid with the fact that he's quite the monster. And I have to say that I did love all the characters. We have this book, it's going to be centered about this girl here. It's called Lei, and she lives very far away from the capital. We have this map here in the beginning, this map of the hidden palace, and it's amazing because I was at the beginning of the book I was checking where everything was, and she's kind of kidnapped. She's brought to the king, and the king is obviously one of the moon caste, and he's the bull. And the thing is, there is this thing called the Poplar Girls, and they're like the concubines of the king. So you have this group of girls who are chosen. At the beginning of the book, it looks like they volunteer to be chosen, to have this honor of serving the king. They're educated, they are prepped, and they are told what they have to do. And then one day the king chooses one of them to have sex with, and yeah, it's like prostitution. And I think that's a strong topic in this book because it deals with things like not having a say into about to who you give your body, and about rape and about abuse and about the trauma of those things and the fear of those things and how it affects you and how it changes you to survive abuse, and how you have this fear of someone being just behind you that's going to come for you, and you have to come to terms with what has happened to you and deal with it in the best way you can. Maybe not now, maybe you are not ready to talk about it now, but maybe you will be, and maybe you will be lucky and you will find a friend, or you will find a lover, you will find someone who can be both things, and that's the best. And you know what I mean. And that's amazing. And this book also talks about racial differences, but in this way of being a fantasy book, it can be exploited more heavily, although our own world is just getting very close to being a dystopic world. But the thing is that we have this moon caste abusing the rest of them, especially the paper caste. So we are going to be talking about privilege and about abuse, abuse about those who you think that are inferior to you, and the justification for attacking other people because you are, top notch, you are the best there is, and the rest are just scum for you to do as you please. And we are also going to come to terms with the idea of power, being so powerful that you are identify with this figure, this deity, and how you live up to those expectations and you do whatever you want because you certainly deserve to do whatever you want because you are the most powerful being ever. And we are also going to find things about these people who just stand in the sidelines and do nothing to stop the abuse, whether it be abuse about against a girl or abuse against a society or a certain person. We are going to see people doing the abuse and people just staying silent, some of them because it serves them, okay, they are not the ones being dismissed or abused, and they kind of benefit, because there's nothing to them. And then we have people who are going to be afraid to stand up to the power, and then we are going to find people who decide that enough is enough and they are going to rebel against everything that they have ever known. And for all that, I think that this book is very powerful because it makes you think about lots of things. And I think it's a book that doesn't exactly pull its punches. There are some parts of it that are very powerful and hurtful. So yeah, I have read that there is like people saying, okay, just take care. Certain pages are very heavy with abuse and rape and losing control over yourself and trauma, and there is even the death of a dog at the very beginning. So it's a very strong book, it's a very powerful book, but be aware that sometimes if you need to take a breath after reading some part of it, it's okay. I mean, who can judge you? And anyway, I think it's a book that deserves to be read because it's amazing, because you have this girl who has been brought against her own will to this palace in which she's going to be cultivated because she's going to be treated like she's a flower or something, that she has to look the best possible for the king, and she's going to be taught that he has to say yes and he has to be submissive and she has to give things that she doesn't want to give, and that no one has ever any fucking right to take from you. And we are going to follow this girl from this journey in which she discovers that she maybe has the power to stand up, and then it's more incredible than anything I can say in this review. Also, it has an amazing female and female relationship, and I have to say that I love those two. They both are amazing. They're so cute and they're so strong and they're so powerful, and I love the way in which the author has talk about relationships as a way of giving power to yourself and power to the other. So our relationship should be about empowerment, your own and the person you are with, because you are giving support to them and they are returning it to you. It's not a cage, it's someone that gives you wings to fly, to be stronger. And I love that idea. I have to say that I completely love this idea. I don't want to say much about the book, as you say. I've been skimming over the summary because I don't want to say much. As I say, there is this group of people who are taking to live in the court with the king, and they are trying to be like concubines, but only to him. And we are going to see alliances working and see people hating each other. And we are going to go to this growth and transformation of some of the characters, and I'm not going to say much more. I have to say, as I say at the beginning, the world building is amazing. All the creatures that the author has created are amazing. I have to say the demon, the moon demon cast with these anthropomorphic animals is amazing, and I love that it's not all black and white. That there is people in all castes that they can be good and they can be bad, and they can realize that things are bad or things are good, and they can act and change things. I love that it's not like all of them are bad because they are these people, but because as in everywhere you have rotten apples and good apples, and you have to pick the ones that and I love the characters. The characters are amazing, are so well done, so wrong. I mean, I felt what they felt, what they feel, and that's amazing because I like when a character suffers and you feel it. I don't like so much when the author says to you, okay, and she suffers, but she's eating cake and she's happy, and you only know that she suffers because the author says that. In this book, you are going to be able to feel everything everyone is feeling, and I think the ability of communicating that, for me, it's amazing, and it's one of the main things that has made me love this book so much. And yeah, I will recommend it to you if you like fantasy, dark fantasy, and books with as I said, representation, inclusion, and take very powerful topics into consideration, as I say, abuse, trauma, sexual assault, differences between people, racial discrimination, all of that kind of things. I think that you're going to love this one. So yeah, pick this one because it's amazing. Thank you for watching. Bye.